You are now streaming Mind You Media.
Y'all asked
That
you
How
to be
dare
manipulating
she?
the clock. You manipulate the clock.
Because she's had enough time to assimilate those details. It's been now 2
That's true.
seasons.
It's true. It's
But
true.
we're missing a key opportunity here to give Mia the best dress of the episode award with that little satin black and white roby dress number. That was very cute.
It was very cute, Mia.
Was.
And it was appropriate for your body type, ma'am.
And
Her
that's
body
never
type?
happening. That is never happening with Mia.
Body type and her age. Like it didn't look like grandma, but it looked, it didn't look way young. Like, what are you doing?
That's 2 in a row for Mia. That's 2 in a row for her.
Keep it up. Keep up the good work, Mia. Come on. Don't fall into Giselle territory. Just keep it up.
Oh my gosh, imagine. She can't afford to.
She can't afford to, but it's possible because did y'all see that orange confessional look? It's enough.
Yeah. Awful.
Enough.
Awful.
It's enough. It's enough. Okay, but anyway.
Not flattering. It was not.
I think I can't tell you exactly what they relayed to their therapist in that scene, verbatim, but I think I've parsed the strands, and I should know, I think it's vague because they're trying to hide something. I don't know if it's about legal reasons. I don't know what it is, but they're being vague. We're not imagining it. That shit is confusing.
Yeah, that's a great point. We're not supposed to know what they did to the brothers or whatever.
Okay, well, that's the longer standing thing that's confusing. We don't know. I mean, G is saying he doesn't know, right? G is saying he doesn't know why but what I actually got a sense of in the context of them explaining it to the therapist is that like G was anticipating his like total retirement, like instead of a partial retirement, his total withdrawal from the operations of the business, and so was potentially trying to make a last push for a like bulk of profit that would leave his accounts in a place that left him feeling good about retirement and the future and who knows, trust funds, whatever, right? And it's on the basis of that potentially aggressive business activity, that his board, which is also his relatives, his family members, said enough. I don't know, maybe they were like, you are not of sound mind and body. I don't know why I threw body in there because it's part of the expression. but just to say like, you're not moving in a way that looks wise to us, potentially, right? Like that, I'm not.
Or maybe
sure
he was doing something shady in that push,
Okay, there's that. But I think the dominant concern for Mia, what she's relaying to the therapist, is that not only that that particular like final push with respect to the company seemed too much, but like there's a general ruthlessness with respect to the mode of conducting business and I'm shocked that that's Mia's position, but a general ruthlessness that she cannot endorse. And I think she feels guilt of her own accord, but also like G is responsible for the death of this attorney who we learn has committed suicide after like refusing to give them money that they are owed, being disbarred. That's when he commits suicide. I believe this attorney is related to them.
Because she did bring up family. I mean, that was the part that I was posing this question. I'm used to interpreting all of Mia's actions as strategies, tactics, and opportunistic steps. But I was just like, despite me not knowing what's going on with the story here, part of me wanted to be like, I wonder if it's safe to extend some level, or like at least say yes to something in what Mia is articulating as like a grievance in the marriage. And the part that at least felt resonant to me was when she was like, the business is a family business, and if you're willing to operate that like ruthlessly with respect to family and alienate family and our kids from family, there's something that don't sit right with me about that.
Yeah, right, because she's from an abusive context.
And I also think my experience with sevens, above all other numbers, what has been consistent is that their relationship to money is it comes in, it goes out, it's not that deep, but because they expect that they will make more in the future.
I know a 7 like that.
Yeah, me neither. Me neither. The 7s I know are actually fixated on future planning, especially where it concerns.
I was saying I know a 7 like that.
Oh, you do?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
the 7s I know are.
we already established who the 7 in your life is, Kristen. So you might as well go ahead and say it.
Yeah, it goes without saying then.
But the 7s I know, I mean, they want money and they use money, you know?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why they want it. Whereas like another number might be saving it and, you know, and so I think that like, you know, just like we've talked about Mia in regards to like actual beef with people, she's like, oh, it's not that deep. Like, I think money is the same thing. Like somebody killed themselves over this.
Yeah.
Whereas other people are like,
we
what else?
might all endorse that sentiment, right? Like we might all agree like it's not worth it. And I think, I think it's like, I don't know, but like, it's gonna sound crazy. I believe Mia. I believe Mia has a legitimate reason for concern. I think she's noticing something that she's like, you shouldn't move like this. It's not cute. Because then here's another reason why I believe this is because she said the family thing, and then we all in the audience were like, which family? What are you saying family for? Like, and even the therapist had to clarify it. So maybe your immediate nuclear family and then your broader family, you're going to feel alienated from if there's a conflict over the business.
Right.
But also what Mia said was like, fudge. I forget it.
Yeah, because I've never known, you know, Mia to be concerned with, you know, her son that she doesn't show on the show. You know,
I will say, just let's take it back to last season when they rented the home in Potomac, and the first thing they did was to have a big family cookout that she invited Karen to. Like, I probably at that point wasn't reading that as like earnest Mia. You remember she brought all her family over, and it was like she was introducing Karen to, this is my cousin, and we used to do this, and they were like, make the elephant sound that she used to make.
The monkey sound, yeah.
Or whatever. Yeah. And so it's like there was something, I wonder if I could read back on that felt like an element that she was in, like having a big room of family, extended family, like some level of, I don't know, at least maybe there's something I want to say yes to about that. Like if Mia's gonna be a little pretend bougie ascendant, that there's still a connection to like,
yeah, Mia's actually the least bougie of them in a certain way. You know what I mean? Like she's the most down home. Okay. It's like every time I say that, then I have to qualify it with like, okay, so let me abandon the claim altogether.
Mia down home.
Okay, it's like maybe that's Candace. I don't know. It could be Candace and Mia, frankly. But I recall now the thing that I was saying. It's that the whole contract, she said, and he pursued legal channels because it's a contract. And it's like, you know, the emphasis there felt like excessive, unnecessary, right? Not like, oh my God, too much, but unnecessary rhetorically. Like, you know, that's where you find something hiding. Because the point is, the person may have been a relative. So it's like, and yet we had a contract. So we needed to remediate through the law because there was a contract established with this person who we are related to.
If this person is related, wow.
That's different. And that would make sense why she wouldn't lead with that aspect, because it's maybe shame inducing or.
Exactly. And it's like, I believe also, like, while Mia seems very comfortable acting like, Gordon, what did you do that the people want to, I think it's because y'all were on TV. And you kept putting your name on the face of the business, and they are like, we don't like that. That does not look good for us. Whether or not they could track it to falling sales or profits or whatever, it's just like, you know, that's Michael's in that kind of trouble. Like, that's what happens when you have your name attached to a business, you know, in a moment where, like, you know, representation via, you know, social media or whatever will make or break you. Determines the success of your thing.
Well, something to watch. We'll keep track of the unfoldings there.
Yeah, it's like we don't wish that the truth comes out, right? Because that's the thing. If it is her family, like, I almost wish they didn't talk about it, because then we had an investigation to pursue and whatever. but.
All right. We've been talking way over time. So quickly, who has something to say about Ashley and the sitter? Do you want to skip that? Do you want to go to the car scene? Like, are we trying to get to Austin? What's happening?
Well, Ashley, at the very least, in that brief, the show moved through a couple of highlight reels of the characters that didn't have much going on. But in the Ashley clip, she, as Ellen pointed out, was talking to the sitter about, no, what should I do the kids again? And what she says in response, or what she says to the sitter is like, we just want to make it easy on Michael. They'll be with him at night, so what should we do with them in the day? Because the priority is to kind of give Michael his flexibility. And it's like, girl, that's your co-parent. Like, he's also not the primary custodian. He should spend time with the kids when he has them. But like, I'm like, Ashley, why are you over here ingratiating yourself to Michael?
And why didn't you make a plan for what your sitter is going to do with your kids while you're out of town? Why are you consulting? Like, what are you trying to do with them? Just like hang or
like, girl, I have them now. Wait, you just asking me this now?
I feel like as much as it's a performance for Michael, like, look at how I'm considering you. I think it's also a performance for all of the white Bravo viewers. Like, look, I plan the day for my children,
The sitter plans. The sitter plans the day for the children. That's what was exposed.
Concerned. I want to make sure that they're engaged,
No, I think it's just, I want to perform. I'm checking in on my kids, but it's like, actually, you should be checking in on if the plans you established for them are going according to plan. Not, so what are y'all doing again?
I would have hung up the phone if I were Ashley.
I would argue that the performance she's trying to enact, probably primarily for the white viewing audience, is respectful and cordial with my husband. Remember when she called them civil to her mother? I think she thinks that's impressive, that I don't be a bitter, embittered ex-divorcee, blah, 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 blah.
Which is to say, baby mama. Which is back.
I think that's really, and that goes back to her performance on the South Moon Under bikini bottom stage. Like,
not bikini bottom.
I think
that would have been a better name. That would have been a better name of the story.
I think she's trying to perform like, like a considerate adult, who's mindful and da 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 da.
Yeah, I mean, the thing, I don't know why you invoked South Moon Under, though. That's what she was doing.
I think when Giselle, I think that's part of like her performance of talking about NECA was and Wendy was in a way that was like, I'm still, even though I'm clearly being so shady, I'm going to do it in a way that's really like, NECA's Wendy's my friend and I'm just worried and not,
At least in the confessional that was aired at the same time as that scene, she was performing that. Yeah. And I mean, maybe we could say that that's what she was doing when Giselle was like, for evil. And she said, I wasn't going to go that far.
Yeah.
Okay. All the way back. Just a quick close read moment. Why did she switch tenses there? I wasn't going to go that far.
Right. Instead of
it could have been because Giselle cut off her sentence and she's like, I wasn't going to say that. Or is it because she has some sense that this plot was premeditated and so she was never going to go that far? She was only going to go this far.
And see, now I get frustrated because I want to say wholeheartedly that, but it's like the way that the producers cut the show, I also feel like who knows what had just been said.
But very sick of them cutting the show. And if we are we going to talk about what happens in the suite in Austin? Because otherwise.
Yes. Okay. All right. Scene change.
Oh, real quick, but they're on the way to Austin. They get to Austin. Ashley separates them into separate cars by astrological sign.
Because she's the bohemian mixed chick, as we've established.
Now, Robin gets put in a car with Candace, Wendy, and who else? I don't remember the other person.
I think it was Karen.
Karen was with Giselle and them.
Nobody's even talking in that car. It doesn't matter.
Robin makes it clear in the confessional. Now, why did Ashley put me in the car with Candace? That Candace is, she don't have nothing to say to Candace, as if Candace now is her new arch nemesis. Now, for as long as we can remember, I mean, at least all of last season, Robin's arch nemesis was Wendy. And Wendy was in that car. I'm looking for Robin to make the biggest stink about Wendy being in the car. No, it's Candace now. When did that happen?
I was gonna say, I hope this doesn't mean that they're about to reunite, like they're about to become friends. Not because it's a great time to watch them all be totally alienated and not speak to each other, but because that would be some shit. While she's cooking up this story for her to be like, in the interest of, closing ranks against Candace, to be like, oh, Wendy, because Wendy would fall for it. That's
Sure would.
my main problem.
We're gonna get there.
Wendy's naive. She would fall for it. She
would. Wendy needs protect Wendy.
I mean, that's literally
from herself. From
what
herself.
people are doing, frankly.
And I think that's also part of why I'm
anti-Black
drawn to
world.
Chris.
Protect Wendy from the anti-Black world, where herself is, an inevitable effect of that world.
Yeah, I think Robin's anxiety really is coming out, her fear triadness, in the way that if somebody says her name, she's already on her hind legs. I think she's so
right, and it just pisses me off. Like, that makes me really triggered because she's so defended, and it's like, I should know not to be triggered. Like, people have their defenses. That's the point, right, of the sickness of the world. But it's like, Robin, if you're so anxious and fearful, stop being so guarded. It's only making it worse. Like,
wait, but the anxious and fearful is like the expression of guardedness.
Yeah, but like, do you want it remediated? Because it's only if guardedness is the continued answer to being anxious and fearful, it's just gonna keep she's gonna keep interrupting mentions of her name with why are you
but I think sometimes, fear is too strong to focus on overcoming fear. Like, to focus on the strategies that would remediate the fear. It's like the fear always feels so kind of imminent. Yeah, like that she can't afford. Okay, and in another world, by the way, Kristen, I think you would be okay with her being guarded. That's if she will have disclosed this story of Juan's infidelity from the beginning, gave us her account, and was carrying on as a normal person suffering it. Even if she was going to do the stand by my man thing, this defensiveness would still make more sense. But it's like, no, you kept it from us. That's why the producers, for the sake of literal profit, are milking it dry. Because you spent a whole season, you wasted a whole season on it. Oh, okay. This is the other thing I will have understood about Candace's position. Remember when Candace, your dried up uterus was waiting for you to put it on, or your broken vagina, whatever. Because those are sensational terms, it's hard to pay attention to what she's saying. And I don't think she necessarily has it totally clear for herself, but she's intuiting something strong, right? She's a strong gut reaction. Robin, you did say to me and Chris in our face, you don't believe Chris to be capable of what Giselle is insinuating, right? But in every other instance, because you knew you could extend the life of the story, you went, oh, really? What else? Why did you do that? Because you had back there a story of the actual impropriety of your husband. Right? Once again, it's heavy on your heart. So now you go super hard pointing at someone else with the accusation. And so from Candace's perspective, it's like, oh, I mean, she literally says this, but it just didn't connect for me in a way until now. You all literally left the viewers without rich storylines. What happened when Apollo went to prison? Phaedra had to come out and say it. What happened when Greg was potentially cheating or saying indiscreet things or whatever to other people? Nene had to come forward and say it. What happened? All of these times in the history, and I can only speak to the Atlanta ones because that's all
Teresa, when Joe Giudice had to go, when they both had to go to jail.
Okay, people understand you can try to control the narrative. You did PR. but you have to disclose because it's coming out one way or another. You shouldn't have let stupid ass Juan convince you to keep it quiet. So now
to listen to Juan, even just watch that man walk around, that's not the one to listen to.
Duh, right? But she will have spent her whole life betraying what was good sense, which is don't listen to Juan. But so people are like, so you collected a check, but didn't actually put what will have been a compelling dollar-making story on front. Oh no, we gonna talk about it now.
And that's why I don't like. Okay, Robin, if you don't care, no, I don't care that you're suffering. I don't care that in the preview of the next episode, you're crying on the curb, crying in the back seat, because you know what? Like you brought it on yourself. I wish I could feel more sympathy for you. But Robin, you kept it from us so that you didn't have your life wasn't made into a storyline last season. Yeah. So now they're making your life into a storyline. Yeah. You could have been more active in the production of it. Now you're gonna have to suffer it.
Yeah. So, now and now it's happening to you. And you know who you can't say this about? Giselle. You know what her strategy is? Just don't have a life. Don't be with no man who might. She learned from Jamal. Don't be. She learned twice, actually. She learned twice with Jamal. Don't be with no man who might embarrass you. Keep your life quiet and small so that you can just be the one laughing at people's misery. Unfortunately, that's miserable Giselle's strategy. But guess what? It means she's not actively lying about her life. She's lying about y'all. She's not lying about her life on the camera the way you fucking hid a whole major story.
Well, but the thing about the hiding and why I think the betrayal is so big is because I would have either been honest, or as soon as Giselle starts talking about Chris, I'd been, let's not talk about husbands. No husbands, no husbands. You know, like
let's keep family out of it. Keep family out of it.
It's a matter of time till it gets to Juan's cheating ass. Everybody knows, you know?
Yeah, because she doesn't even trust Giselle enough, right? Because what happened is Ashley tells Robin, Chris slid into my DMs. Don't ever forget, America. Ashley started it with the implication that Chris would want her four-headed ass. No.
Ashley was so deep in it the whole time, continued it with Big Bird.
There were two peas in a motherfucking pod. Now, Giselle's was more imaginative. She didn't even have a DM to draw from. She just had her rabid imagination. I know everybody wants me. My eyes are green. Are you kidding? I'm light. I'm the baddest thing walking. And right? Like, again, just her rabid imagination that she is the most desirable thing to ever like. And the truth is, Chris had a crush on her, so we gotta acknowledge that. Okay, Chris did have a crush on her, but that didn't mean he was going to cheat on his wife to pursue you. You're so narcissistic. He's content just imagining you all in a life in another lifetime. Like
he had a fine 8 on his plate. He didn't need another one. Okay,
exactly. And a smarter, more fun and spunky one. Like you were also like way older than him, which made it easy probably for him to quiet the fantasy. Like, come on, he dealt with his crush the way the rest of us do. Okay, at night in our dreams. But Giselle is so narcissistic that it's just like, no, he wanted to pursue. He couldn't help himself. I mean, look at me.
I've met many a married man who would try me. Like, girl, stop. Stop.
She did. And she's not lying about that. But half of those you also imagined, okay? Like half of them were real, half of them you invented.
Yes.
Yeah, it's the Robin. She's triggering me very deeply, and I think it makes her just so unsympathetic. I can't. And the strategy of now casting Candace as your enemy is just like, girl, what's it? What is it? Who is it?
She's getting very petulant. What about the pies in the suite? What? No, I didn't know you were in your pie era.
That was the funniest part of the suite. Karen, in one scene in the car, says, well, you know, the way I think about Robin as a pie is as soon as they get in the suite, no, you know, I've been in my pie era. Wait, you just narrated that, Karen?
Yes.
Yeah, as you all know, I've been in my pie era. You just said it.
It's part of Karen's ongoing strategy to be like, you're not on my level, keep up, right? She like invokes something that they should have already known about. You didn't already know.
I love that phrase. No, as y'all all know, I'm in my pie era. Wait.
Yes.
And then try it in real life and see if it works.
Kind of want to.
How descriptive she is with the pie. You know, it's like she really had this whole apparatus figured out, you know.
What kind of pie is Robin? I got it from Safeway. It costs $2.
Yes.
It don't even got a flavor.
Okay. Also in the suite, somebody speak on Ashley. First of all, why speak on the hotel? Speak on the
Well, that's more relevant when we start talking about the pool cabana because initially in that suite it looks like high design
snacks everywhere.
Yeah, and it's going for like moody northeastern. There's a library. It was like
industrial,
dark academia.
That's right. That's exactly what it's giving. Yeah, but then you can see Ashley, like, you know how Ashley's living like especially if she gets to be like the center of something in that she's hosting it, right? But you see Ashley look dejected in that room. She's like, I don't know, we're just gonna go to the pool later, something smaller. So, fuck you. Like,
well, you know that happens after everybody walks into the dark academia suite and they're like, ooh, okay. And then somebody goes, so do we all get a suite or no?
Yep. And that's what, but you could hear like already when people were asking about rooms. I don't know if it's when they were shopping. She was like, the rooms will be fine. Like, Ashley legitimately was anxious. The rooms will be fine. I was like, because she does not have a reputation for hosting an event well, for accommodating the women. She does not. Okay, so it was a shock that there was finger food in this suite for them to enjoy. And she's worried because they're going to see their rooms and they're not going to be pleased. They're going to see the pool area and they are going to be repelled.
Yes. They're going to say, oh, we are at the Hampton Inn. Meanwhile, Ashley has that whole suite. And then the one other suite goes to Robin.
Karen said, I can't even repeat Karen sometimes. I just have to laugh in the wake of her Karenisms. I would have been in the corner.
What did she say, Katherine? How did she phrase it?
I was glad to be in my little cubbyhole. I would much rather be in a cubbyhole any day than be in a suite that I didn't deserve.
She's in a cubbyhole.
And it's true. It is so awkward for Robin. But I think one of you said previously, like, Robin can't receive. She has no idea how awkward she should feel. She's like, oh, yeah. I mean, it's like you were given that room because somebody thought, quote, you're going through a hard time, and it's like.
She disavows it at every turn. That should be shot. It's like, hey, Robin, against your insistences that you don't care and that you believe him, we recognize you're going through a hard time. Here, take this. It's for you.
No, but then again, she said they're stealing her joy. So it's like, yeah, she's fucking full of contradictions. And I think in this context, she'd be like, I do deserve this room. I've been persecuted longer, like by Juan, baby, by Juan, not the rest of us.
You got the wrong one.
The wrong one. She is gonna live and die and never know. Oh my gosh, that is so sad. She's gonna blame all her problems on other women. That is so sad.
But I also just want to underscore Karen's statement in light of that discussion we just had about Robin's like sick way of withholding her storyline. It's like, Karen, Ellen, was it you that said, like, Karen, the force of what Karen's saying about deserving is like, ma'am, you don't deserve this. You don't deserve a space on this show damn near because of what you did, let alone deserve a whole suite to yourself. Like, that's what you don't deserve.
Yes. You show up, somebody says your name or your husband's name, you get, then the scene ends. It's like, no, you do not, no.
You hardly earn your spot on the show doing the job of being a housewife.
And that's the main point, right? Oh, and maybe that's really what Karen meant. You don't deserve, because you should be distributing the rooms on the basis of who is bringing in the most viewers.
And Karen is working overtime to keep the show together.
And literally, which leads us to the cabana.
Okay.
Okay. I mean, whatever. The cabana is not the like pièce de résistance of the episode, so let us not pretend like it is. But, or should we talk about Mia and Robin walking down the street?
Well, the cabana starts with, where's Mia and Robin? Oh, they're together, and then flash them walking down the street.
I don't really got nothing to say. I literally wrote one note on that scene and I was like, their bodies are the same.
I was going to say another instance of Robin not earning her check on this show. But
well, okay, but you did do you did raise earlier that you were you not sure of Robin's sincerity or Mia's sincerity
yeah,
or both in the context of that scene?
I was mostly not convinced of Robin's sincerity. And I think like maybe I noted what you would go on to say, but it's like Robin was giving me the same face she gave at the cockies with NECA, which is oh, T, can't believe it. Ooh, gossip in the face of Mia sharing a story that is so resonant with Robin's own that I was just like, hey, yo, Robin, what are you doing? And it looked, which I think is your point, it looked like she was about to connect with her and then just like hung her hat on like, no, let me do a performative, oh my God, what? No, like she did with NECA. And I was just like, Robin, that's nasty. No.
I actually don't think she did a performative shock. I think the like that was real. I think the like force of reaction was real. I think the expression of it was performed. So in other words, like you first when the story is coming out, Mia's setting it up. It's like, okay, you've already told me the basis for why you're coming to me. It's because I will have gone through something similar. How far does the similarity go? Right? She's like, okay, and like someone who's traumatized, she's anticipating the scary part. So when Mia lets it drop, she goes, oh, wow.
Yeah, and she cracks this
Wow.
little
So you
smile.
see her actually get lost in the emotional expression. The trauma will have resurfaced. Like, no, I hope you weren't going to say that it was suicide, right? Like, and then she's like, the camera's here. Don't let them see you sweat. Dang, really? Oh, like, you know what I mean? Like, and I think the emotional force was actually real. Then she diverted it into cheaper expressions.
And that movement to me registered as discrediting. I was just like, Robin, no, that's not nice.
Yeah.
I think this is a cautionary tale as to why you should not cast like liar, pick me, tryhards, because the whole scene for me was so disorienting because it's like I go into the scene thinking just Mia speaking at the beginning, okay, I want to talk to you about something serious. I know you've been through the same thing. I want to believe that's true, but I've already seen Mia, talk about her child's learning differences to get ahead, talk about her mother's addiction to get ahead, talk about her best friend growing up, like being a no account, whatever. And it's like, the whole time was feeling like, is she bringing this up, to
turn it into a
gain?
moment. I mean,
Yeah.
you gotta consider that because it's like she probably has people she's closer to who she could have talked to about it, but to televise a conversation with Robin is to try to,
but
get a
by
one-on-one.
the end, exactly. But by the end, I felt like, I guess I believe Mia. And then I was looking more towards Robin, like, why is she laughing? And then like the scene ends and I'm feeling like, okay, I don't really trust the scene. I can't, it's like, it's hard to have a character grow when it's like you've seen how they've been brought on the show.
And I think that Mia would go to Robin. Like, what about this woman suggests she has the capacity to hold your feelings, right? Like that was already a like strange choice for someone to confide in,
As
even though she
Juan
went through the
has
same
taught
thing.
us, she is no one to share your life with.
Touche.
But maybe Mia is primed to make that mistake because Mia maybe isn't in the business of having feelings to share,
Yeah. Despite Gordon insisting she's the sensitive one.
Well, that was great. But also I do relate the one in defense of Mia. It's like the story she told was uncanny, had an uncanny similarity to Robin's story, So it's like, okay, that does make sense why you would have said it. But at the same time, it's just like,
Yeah. No, it's true. That makes sense why you would say it to Robin, but like also in the context of like you don't make any one-on-ones with you don't have Robin on your phone normally having a call with her, right? It's because of filming. And I wonder if it's the duality of that. Like your sadness about that situation is clearly real, Mia. but your like capacity to even instrumentalize your sadness is also unbelievable. Right?
Well trained.
Yeah. And we might say that about all of the housewives, but it's like at the point that you sign up, you don't anticipate all the shit you're going to have to encounter that will inevitably have to go on TV. You know?
All right.
Okay.
Flash back to okay, let me just say about that scene is when they're in the cabana and they're like, oh, like, you know, where's Mia and Robin? Oh, they're off talking. I literally was like, and what would they be even talking to the point about? Like, why would you bring this up to Robin? It's like, what does she have to say to Robin? You know?
Well, I'll tell you what, if Mia's present, Mia will be doing the conversationizing that will make them cohere. Like Karen is like the only one here to do it. And it's like, you know, Mia's gonna act like everybody's friends.
That was such a painful cabana sit. I was just like, oh, this is tense and awkward.
And that's also when we get the full view of that whack ass hotel Ashley booked. Like, embarrassing. Okay, it was so
literally
bad.
Sitting on a padded bench. It's like that's what they call a cabana.
No, it's like shiplap in the background, like dark shiplap. There's like camera. We need more lighting.
We should not even be calling it the cabana. They were at the pool. You know,
it
like
was a bench at the pool. It was a bench.
Pool bench. A pool bench.
A pool bench. Because remember those like benches that get bolted down at the community pool, like near the exit?
They were at the Austin Community Pool, the ACP.
Oh, look at that. Okay, ACP is also Adam Clayton Powell, Harlem.
Hey.
Okay, so can I just make my quick production note? I feel like when Wendy, and I guess unfortunately this skips past Candace and Giselle, which we need to get to, but I feel like when Wendy is talking, granted, she is stammering, she is repeating herself, she is faltering, but I think production is cutting it very consciously to make of her a liar. Now, is she a liar? Sure. Who else is a liar though? Lots of them. So
all of them.
Yeah. So it's like this little like focus on trying to discredit Wendy is very annoying, and it feels very intentional and forced. And another thing related to this is like, okay, there are some accounts on social media that clearly have it in with the network, with Bravo, because they get to circulate like authorized content previews. Because if they didn't, it would be like
5-minute previews.
Long.
Like, where are they getting them from? Presumably the network's giving them. If somebody watching knows actually how this works, please comment and let us know, because maybe I'm just speculating. But it seems to me Bravo Andy production has its sense of the tastemakers, influencers on social media they want to release early footage to, and those that they don't. Well, one account in particular, yes, you Queens of Bravo, is very decidedly anti-Wendy, and as Katherine pointed out, pro-Robin. Now, where they do that at? Who the hell is pro-Robin? Suspicious. Okay.
So, and you see in the comments of Queens of Bravo, everyone's like, get this off my timeline. Get this away. You know?
You like read the room. Like, what's wrong with you and your bad takes, right? But it's like, I don't like that. Like, it's worrisome to me where I'm taking the Queens of Bravo as a key instance, example, expression of this clear favoritism, right? This clear bias that we're for the production against Wendy, which is why they like continue to try to undermine the legitimacy of what she's saying. Now, what we'll later get into in our, account of the ongoing flip-floppery is Nekadum flip-flopped multiple times at this point, including in the context of the pool bench conversation. So
speak on the pool bench flip-flop. Speak on it. Actually, should we speak on it?
Should we talk about Candace and Giselle, since they are the first topic of discussion?
Okay, and it's notably brief.
Yes, get to a real brief, Candace and Giselle.
Okay, so what happens is Karen goes, Giselle, you and I have had our differences and we have resolved them. So I'm not sure, here remains an elephant in the room, the tension between you and Candace. Like Giselle goes, Karen, we're in a good place. Aren't we in a good place? And Karen is like, yes. So why can't you and Candace get to a good place? And she has to say it with her chest, because what is Giselle doing there? Is she trying to bully her into silence? It seems to me. Because it's like Karen is raising this already, the specter of Giselle and hers conflict, and saying, like, if we can resolve it, I imagine you two can resolve it. And I think Giselle is trying to silence her, one of her key strategies of power, by being like, but are you not in my good graces currently, Karen? Do you want to fall out of them? It's like a Trojan horse. Like the leading image is of something like gracious and complimentary. Are we not good? But the threat lying within is like, do you want me to turn on you? And this is I regard this as also like consistent with my theory earlier about Giselle hatching this plot, because it seems to me Giselle she didn't include Mia early on, but she thinks she can win Mia over, and Mia is happy to be invited right into the room to sit at the table. But she definitely didn't invite Karen, because she regards Karen as on Candace and Wendy's side in the clear divide, right? And I think she keeps on trying to test, and Aid is always testing. She keeps on trying to test Karen to see if Karen will either recast her loyalties with the light skins or to decide definitively where she lies. And I think Karen knows that, which is why her opening statement is, I am the fence. Okay, you ride me.
All right.
And frankly, Giselle does ride her, right? Because that's what the test is. Like, whose side you on, Karen? What is it, Karen? Why you ain't apologize to Robin, Karen? Like this attempt to exact apologies is how she shores up her which team is which, right? It's either team light skin or it's not. Like Karen apologized to Robin. That will be the clear indication of where your loyalties lie.
Right.
And Karen doesn't fall for it. She said, I'm the show. That's when she said, I am the fence. I am the show. Okay.
Karen is annoyed. And we talked about this last episode. Yeah. Karen is so annoyed. They're clearly sitting on the fucking pool bench in the ass crack of Austin. Like, silently.
Yeah.
Like just twiddling their thumbs. And Karen said, I'm trying to get renewed. I signed up to be I signed up to be on a show. I want people to know the grand dame.
I'm a businesswoman.
Right. What she say, season 2 or whatever? I'm debt free and loaded. So
exactly.
Stay that way.
Exactly. And so Karen is just like, Giselle, like, okay, I get it. We're sitting here silently on a bench. You need to make up with Candace.
And specifically as the showrunners, right? Like, what did that guy who was doing that TikTok about the leads versus the compliments? I don't know what terminology he used. The anchors. It's like, is there a reference book on housewives we should buy to learn these terms? Okay, so specifically,
foils.
The foils, the anchors and the foils. So specifically, Karen and Giselle are billed as the anchors. As the anchor, you cannot be alienating half the cast. But Giselle said, Karen, I'm not stupid. I'm trying to get it recast. And it's like, the way the ratings go, girl, you the one who's gonna have to be recast.
Yep. Yes. And Giselle doesn't realize that Giselle was an anchor for the first few seasons, but there's just talking about Robin doesn't have the
given us enough exactly to merit her, because she's not funny. She used to be kind of funny. She's getting less and less funny. It happens with seniors. Some of them keep their humor and some of them don't. And that's not shade at old people. I'm aging too. I'm less funny than I was in my 20s. It's just like
Karen remains sharp and funny and witty and agile. And Giselle has lost, she is sapped of verve and vitality. And it's like, girl, that is not no mix for good ratings. You are a snooze fest with you. You don't have no storylines.
Your reads aren't good. You're not talking to anyone. You're boring. And your strategies for consolidating power are unimaginative. You do the same thing every time. Try to exact apology, like draw a line, light skins versus others. Like, It's not only offensive, it's boring.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Even your little tenderoni young thing relationship that was seated, that don't look fun.
Relationship.
I don't feel no chemistry, no spark, no dynamic with y'all.
So much
You're being
so that we need not even fucking talk about it. It's so like, okay, anyway. But to this point, so Giselle goes, oh, really, Karen? So Neka, Wendy, why don't y'all go ahead and pivots immediately, therefore showing her cards. I won't talk to Candace because my strategy for getting her off the show is to ice her out. And what does Candace say?
Ooh, best line of the episode.
Give it to us. Give it to us. I don't feel prepared to deliver it well.
Oh, I know. I forgot. I had to think
forget the exact word.
No, what she thinks. She thinks that if she ignores me, I will disappear. But
my black ass is still here.
So, she said, so it went like this.
And she and as the in the discourse, as they say, as the young folks say, that was a read. It was a beautiful read because that's exactly what was going on. That's and you know it's an apt read when Giselle didn't say anything. She just had to look.
She went.
Well, that's the thing. So season, Giselle to me doesn't look like she's icing out people. She looks like, and I was not sure in the first few episodes if she was just being quiet because she didn't have anything to say and she was stressed. Mm-hmm. It's only recently that I'm like, oh, you think this is a power play?
Yeah.
You know?
No, she's because it diverges from the one she tried to inaugurate with Monique. She's not a passive woman, right? So it's like she would not prefer to be taking this silent game strategy. With Monique, she tried to make her disappear by not filming with her. She would corral the woman and go, do you want to film with her? You are not ethical. You are not ethical. You are not ethical. With Candace, it won't work, right? Who's going to back that up? So she's still chirping that. The way she came from my family, my girl, you're just mimicking what she said you did to her.
What happened to your family, Giselle, in the wake of your accusation? Okay, of your accusation. What happened to you? Like, what? Are you serious?
It makes exactly. You bully somebody and you're mad when they clap back. It's absurd. So I think this is a petulant and failing strategy. Like I can't say failing because it won't yield fruit. It might yield fruit. She cannot single-handedly boot Candace out, but she can set in motion a series of dynamics or unfoldings that may result in Candace volunteering to leave. Who knows? But I think Giselle is suffering her inefficacy right now. Like her passivity. She cannot actively engage the strategy. She can just silently ice her out.
I have a question. What is the likelihood of Giselle ever taking ownership of wrongdoing in this dynamic?
Not in this dynamic. I don't think she'll take ownership.
On TV, yeah, it's tough. She's on TV. If in real life, if a stronger type came in and tried to intervene, she might be forced to account for herself.
Or not very hard. Necessarily. I think that eights definitely have a capacity to take responsibility.
Okay, if they see innocence and vulnerability in someone, right?
Yeah.
Well, actually, Candace tried that. It didn't work.
Yeah, that's why I think in this dynamic, I think there's no chance.
Yeah. Because Giselle probably got reactivated every time she read a piece of hate on social media, and it was like, like gnarly. She probably read somebody guess like this bitch is really full of herself. She think everybody want her, and she went, I'm aging. They're right. I'm waning in my attractiveness, and so she's holding a grudge and punishing Candace for it.
This is what I think too, is that, and I haven't thought about this till right now, but now I strongly believe it, is that, an 8 in person can have an energy or has an energy about them that people follow them. People are interested. They easily consolidate power. I think that on the show, there are women that are, clamoring to her or like want to be around, but that does not translate to the screen. The viewers do not feel the same way. And I think that might be part of why Giselle is so blind to like how little she offers to the show, because so many people in person are ingratiating themselves to her. And it's like very often actually that people see eights in community with others and they're like, yo, that is ugly. That's not a good dynamic. But the people that are actually in that space with the eight don't see it.
Yeah. From the outside looking in, it's not cute. From the inside, okay. And that actually makes sense, and that you would call it an energy, because it's like you probably have to be in proximity for the energy to take hold of you.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think we said, in order to parse what is up and what is down in this ongoing drama between Nneka and Wendy, that we would approach the matter making some assumptions, proceeding from there, and deciding what we think in light of that. Okay, so I'm gonna ask y'all to philosophize with me for a moment. Okay, so let's assume that Wendy and Nneka are both lying. And it's not that hard to do, right? There's ample evidence this episode to suggest neither of them can keep their story straight.
Yes. Don't ever rob a bank with them.
As Mia aptly noted. So if we can assume they are both lying, and we are not moral absolutists, we know in life there may be a good reason to lie, just as we know there might be a good reason, to use violence against one's enemies, right? Free Palestine.
Both times, just yes.
So right, because we would defend Hamas's resistance to Israeli occupation, wouldn't we? Okay. So then we know lying sometimes makes sense in a certain context. And we would be absurd to not grant that much, because we will have all lied for reasons we felt like were good reasons. So my question is, if we are assuming they're both lying, the question becomes, who's lying for a reason y'all would call good?
Or defensible?
Okay, well, I think that there are the main difference. Well, no, there are a lot of differences between Nneka and Wendy, but I think in terms of like the strategies with the lying, it's like Wendy is lying because she is on defense. Nneka is lying on offense, and that is far less defensible.
Well put. Yeah, I mean, that was a really succinct way to put it, right? But do you think from Nneka's perspective, she's the one on offense?
I think that, because I mean, defensible, I think that I could see why someone would lie to get on a show. I understand that. I would see why someone would lie to make themselves relevant on a show. I would, I get it. That's not someone I want to know more about. That's and so it's like, I can see why she felt like she had to lie to get on the show, but it's like, this is ugly to me. If I had to lie, especially in that way, to get on a show, and then those lies will be broadcast, and then other Black people will think that I hate Black people. It's like,
we'll know. You got it right the first time. We'll know that I hate. Yes.
No.
Okay, Kristen, but before you answer whose lie is good or defensible, can you tell me what is the reason, whether we deem it good or not, Wendy has to lie?
It's a tough question. I mean, you posed it earlier, and I think Wendy's lying to protect her position in a certain sense on the show. But it makes me think, like, in reaction to the question, like what lies are defensible? And it feels like both of them are lying from a place of their own, like, deeply set in defenses. And so then I'm just like, okay, whose defenses against the world, against anti-Blackness, against, encroachments against their person, which defenses are more defensible? And it's like, it's a losing game. I don't know. I mean, I feel Nneka to be more nasty, ruthless, and like clearly unprincipled. I mean, I think Wendy is vexed and ambivalent and inconsistent about an aspirational set of principles. I think she wants to like appear confident and perform confidence and perform Black excellence and perform affirming Blackness and affirming, affirming like anti-colorism and like, I think she wants to stand righteously on the side of all the things that are good for Black women's appearances. Well, of course, when we get into the like world of representations and appearances, then things start to get sticky and untenable and nasty and liberal. But I don't think Nneka has any kind of North Star orientation set of principles that drive her reactions. I think she is groping and, as we discussed with her child, what do you call it, pregnancy journey or whatever, like, I think she's ambivalent and I think she's doing what feels right in the moment and kind of playing, acting out and reacting, and that she has no coherent sense of a set of principles that are driving her actions. And I think for that reason, again, as much as Wendy's defenses are not working this season and are not being interrogated, that's the thing that I'm mostly taking issue with Wendy this season. Like, girl, sit down and like reflect for a second to think about like what's motivating you. Why aren't you thinking about why it is you're lying? Why aren't you thinking about Mama Sue? Like, why aren't you kind of considering what strategy works? Why aren't you thinking twice about Ashley's motivations? Why are you telling Candace that the housewarming went well? Why are you saying that Austin will be fun? No, you have all the evidence to believe it won't be. So like, think with what you see and don't stop hoping against hope that it's going to work out. That's the thing I take issue with Wendy. But like, Nneka just seems driven by nasty anti-Black ascendancy motivations.
Yes. Okay. And I think, wait, let me just add to that. I think it's common with threes that you so over-identify with the mask, but then, you're wearing different masks in different settings. It's like, you're unsure of, who you actually are. I think that Wendy, in some moments, I'm like, I don't know if Wendy even knows she's lying. She's like really trying to keep, she's lying to herself in some moments as much as she's lying to us.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I think that was like robust and provocative, thought-provoking, all of it. And I think the one other provocation that I want to raise that like is a little bit of a challenge to where y'all landed is it fair, first of all? And if it's fair, then what do you think? Is it fair to suggest that both women are motivated to be impressive according to normative standards? And in Wendy's case, her normative standards are such that she can read the room, the climate of, the nation or the globe, and say like, okay, like people are railing against anti-Blackness in a way that like exceeds like, give us liberal participation, like we want elected officials represented, we want voters, in a way that exceeds what will have been typical of, let's say, her political commentary, right? Like, although she did get her PhD in the moment of the politicization of police killings of Black people in the street, right? Not the invention of police killing, but in the moment of the politicization of it, right, on the public stage. So she's responding to those in the political commentary. But we also know from Wendy's history that Wendy will have worn her foundation, for instance, several shades lighter, which also reflects an attempt to be impressive by normative standards, right? We know that when Candace calls Giselle white looking, Wendy goes, come on, we just put colorism to rest, right? So she would like to kind of quiet. So like Wendy's sensibilities about how to be impressive according to the normative standards are about the corner of the world she's been moving through. Nneka's attempts to be impressive by normative standards are about the corner of the world she's been moving through.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So how do we think about where we would defend one over the other in light of that?
And I totally agree that you could defend. The thing is, one person is new to the show, but it's like that, you could make an argument, about these defense strategies that like, neither one of these people, despite, how much people have been talking about evil, people being evil, neither one of these people are evil, It's like, and these are very like understandable and recognizable strategies. Like I said this when the three of us were talking earlier, like I actually don't think Wendy needed to lie. And I don't think that Nneka needed to lie either to this degree to be on the show. So it's like,
you're gonna have to ask production that.
Yeah, well, that's true.
Well, they may have made her being admitted onto the show contingent on precisely this stirring up this conflict with Wendy, and I do highly suspect that's the case.
If they made her being able to hold the little champagne glass or whatever, her cherry blossom, if they made her cherry blossom contingent on the lie, then I think Nneka is more defensible. Like, I mean, but like, just because it's like, I don't think either of them needed to lie. I sympathize more with Wendy. But I mean,
I think
pushed to lie, I don't think Wendy was pushed to lie.
I think the point is well taken, because like if both of them were saying, I think, imbibe and have organized themselves to some extent, maybe a great extent, by normative standards of like success. Nneka says during the consultation that her success at conceiving is delayed. Like if both of them are oriented by normative standards of success, those normative standards in this anti-Black world say that like to be an exceptional Black, like exceptional means there's only one, there can only be one. To be the exceptional Black means you have to be the exception against the masses. So like by that rule, they both can't be the Nigerian housewife. And maybe that's like their downfall, both of them, for whatever their like defenses are, whatever their strategies of protecting themselves or their lives, whatever motivates their lives, they both believe that there can only be one.
Yeah, I think that's a strong point. And I did say something along those lines. I did suggest it could be a possibility that is Wendy's orientation. However, we do find like it's like you almost wonder, like, is it that there can only be one Nigerian? Or I rolled my eyes thinking about who said that. We'll get there. But Wendy's trying to bring Kiana on the show, right? So it's not like there can only be, and that is a verifiable brown-skinned woman, okay, from Baltimore, who is signifying less from what we can tell already, having met her, on the like obnoxious bourgeois aspirations of the Potomac woman, and more what we tend to know Baltimore from, which is keeping it motherfucking real, right? So it's like, in terms of representational standards, Wendy's not trying to keep out people who might like represent, something realer than Nneka's rich bitch.
I think it's more than representation. I mean, Wendy, despite what she says, she knows Nneka. Okay. So it's like, imagine someone, I think for a 3 having you think you can do this too? Like, I feel like it's more of a threat because they actually do run in the same literal circles.
That's what I mean. I think like Kiarna doesn't stand on Wendy's corner. Like Nneka is a little too close to Wendy's corner. She's, as we mentioned last episode, she's too close of a professional. Wendy, you are a doctor of philosophy. You have a lot of education, but in the economy of professional ascendancy, Nneka is
she will be the only other comparable figure.
Like Nneka stands a little bit too close on your court. Kiarna can be the keeping it real, just like you can be friends with Candace. Candace is the outspoken singer. You know, like there can be you affirming other Black women on the show. It just can't be too close to your trope.
And it's already been proven she's been undermined because of Nneka's closeness. She's been undermined. Well, you know, Nneka's a lawyer, so we gotta, you know, whereas in other times, oh well, Wendy's smart.
And okay.
Like, oh well, Nneka knows about shrines because she's not. Oh, in other times we would have deferred to Wendy.
No, it's true. No, it's true. And you know, that leads me to our closing position, our closing point, right? Our closing matter. It's like, okay, people want to act like this is like only motivated by Wendy's jealousy and competitiveness, but there you light skins specifically go, right? Like staging the conditions that Wendy feels compelled to defend against. Like, let's grant greater credibility to her because of that. Yeah, exactly. Shall we wrap up with by issuing a threat to one forehead Darby?
Let the chop thing about forehead. Forehead Darby. Somebody else quote her, and then I have to speak.
As Candace mentioned, that's why her forehead's so big. She got so many lines in it.
But Ashley specifically was like, if you want to be the only Nigerian, just say so. Just say you want to be the only Niger queen. Oh, I swear to, oh my God. The way I clock back.
The same impulse.
Ashley, if you're watching, regard this as a motherfucking threat. Keep the word Nigeria out of your motherfucking mouth. I'm looking right at you. Keep the word out of, like, I don't want to hear her say the word. It's not about Niger. That was obviously a bridge too far. The word Nigeria is a bridge too far now. The way you have nothing but disdain for Black people, don't say anything concerning us. Mind your fucking business and go back to your white shit. Okay? South Moon down.
See episode 1 where Ashley's ass wants to be the proper pristine gardener in the face of mommy, but as soon as mommy asks about Candace, it says, it ain't enough sage in the world to get that woman in my house. We made the point then, Ashley only wants to bring the Black scent out when it comes to disparaging other Black people. Otherwise, it's irrespective of my friendship with Wendy. I just have to believe that Nneka's conviction was worth believing. Ashley, go to hell. Go to hell.
What was upsetting too, on top of the word choice, on top of the Black scent, it's like she was actually belittling, oh, poor Wendy. The little Black Wendy thinks there's only room for one Black. Oh my God.
Exactly. It doesn't reflect somebody who is also Black, who understands those dynamics imposed on us, which is an effect of an anti-Black order, even though we don't like to see it. Even though we don't like to see Black people take it up, she has zero context for that. She's just reveling in the Black on Black hostilities, right? Like, she's just like, now set them against each other. I'm sorry. Are you mad that they're like a little white troll?
And that's the thing.
Go back and watch when Nneka called Wendy a bitch at the pickleball. Watch Ashley's face. Like, just go back and watch that. Ashley goes, like, she is coming in her pants. She's like, titillated. Yeah.
No, and I want to be clear. Like, I know we gotta end. I just want to be clear to the viewer watching. Like, this cannot be overstated. Like, it might seem like this is real. A certain, like, to be honest, I will have experienced it in the context of mixed chicks, not only mixed chicks, but by the way, mixed chick is not indexed to a person with a white parent. It tends to follow those lines, but people with 2 Black parents can also be mixed chicks, okay?
Because Robin been acting like one lately.
what we find is that precisely consistent with Ashley's idea to lactify herself, to signify on white new mom, new homeowner, white gardening with the white littles, blah, 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 like to fully whiten herself, okay, is that it's motivated by this sense that everything concerning Blackness is counts against her, is a sign against her. It's a sign of debasement. So she's not even doing this consciously, okay? That's not it. She's totally doing it unconsciously. And the point is that it's like, Niger Queen, like Blackness is the punchline for her. We know Blackness is the punchline in a global sense, okay? And particularly for America. Okay, the American polity regards Blackness as its punchline. And unfortunately, some of us have no other counter narrative. So we are lit. And let me stop identifying with the collective pronoun because I do not care to identify with Ashley. Like I'm contextualizing enough. I do not need to be in her motherfucking camp. Okay. Ashley specifically is lit to feel herself transcend her Blackness. That still remains of it by shitting on Blackness everywhere she can find it.
Everywhere she finds it.
And she does it in such a specific type of white way. The way that when she's talking about poor little Black Wendy, stupid Black Wendy doesn't know that there can be more than one Black. It's like she's using the DEI language. We're inclusive here. Everyone's welcome in the tent.
You're so inclusive. You literally got another Nigerian to displace this one. That's the thing. The thing Wendy's afraid of, you are actively and consciously concocting with Giselle and production.
And then you apologize her for walking into your trap, you sick little fuck. You sick fuck.
Exactly.
Okay, we don't end on a rageful note. Normally we
It's giving imitation of life. Oh.
So on that note, let us know what y'all think. Black rage or what?
Yes, always.
Toodles.
Bye.